There will likely be times in your academic and professional career when you will be called on to use primary source materials and to distinguish them from secondary or tertiary sources. This video is intended to clarify these distinctions. A primary source is a document or physical object that was written, present in, or created during the time under study and offers an inside view of a particular event. Primary sources have not been filtered through interpretation or evaluation, but exist as they did at the time they were created. Because primary sources are the accounts of people who were actually there, they are the original materials on which other research is based. As such, they serve an important role in providing evidence when trying to make an argument or discover and describe a truth. Primary sources include original documents like diary speeches, news footage, and autobiographies, creative works like poetry, drama, novels, and music, and artifacts like clothing, pottery, or buildings. Specific examples include this website containing the original text of the U.S. Constitution. Even though this website didn't exist at the writing of the Constitution, the text represented is the original text and is considered a primary source. A journal article reporting new research is also a primary source. Articles are written for many purposes. Some serve the purpose of reporting original research that has been carried out, and these reports are primary sources. A secondary source may interpret or analyze a primary source, and so is generally written after the event under study with the benefit of hindsight. These sources are one or more steps removed from the event. Secondary sources are not evidence, but rather commentary on and discussion of evidence. Secondary sources may have pictures, quotes, or graphics of primary sources in them. Secondary sources include histories, criticism, analysis, and commentary, biographical works, or other books that are not fiction or autobiography, which are primary sources. Tertiary sources generally provide an overview or summary of a topic by synthesizing information gathered from other resources. They may contain primary or secondary sources. For example, an online encyclopedia entry about the U.S. Constitution may contain the text of, or a complete image of, or a link to the entire text of the Constitution. Tertiary sources can also be collections or distillations of primary and secondary sources, such as databases, bibliographies, and directories. Tertiary resources often provide data in a convenient form or provide information with context by which to interpret it. Examples include almanacs, indexes like periodical databases that are used to identify primary and secondary sources, or textbooks. This chart gives examples of primary, secondary, and tertiary sources in the health sciences. To review, primary sources like research studies, autobiographies, or original documents were created at the time under study. Secondary sources like informational websites, journal articles, or nonfiction books may use or cite primary information sources, but they are created after the period in question with the benefit of hindsight. And tertiary sources like dictionaries, encyclopedias, or textbooks are collections or distillations of primary and secondary source materials. And by now you may have guessed the line between secondary and tertiary sources isn't always clear. What is most important to know, however, is that primary sources were created at the time under investigation and give us first-hand insight into that time.